Good morning, everybody. Mr. Kennedy here. Today, we're going to be learning how to draw Spider-Man.
All right, my friends. So before we get started, do you notice anything different about my paper today? You might notice that the spring binder is on the right side. Normally, it's on the left. That's because my paper is upside down. Doesn't seem important right now, but later, that's going to be an important detail for our drawing today. So again, my paper is upside down. All right, let's get started. So for Spider-Man, the first thing I'm going to do, towards the top of my paper and in the middle, I'm going to start with a big circle for his head. And I want to remind us at home that we should be drawing lightly. If it appears that I'm drawing darkly on my paper, that's only because I want to make sure you guys can see the lines I'm making at home. But please make sure you are drawing lightly. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line that's going to go straight down the middle of my paper. It's going to cut my circle in half, and then I want to come all the way down to the edge. So again, I want to draw a line that's going to cut my circle in half. And I'm just trying to draw it about as in the middle as I can. If it's not perfectly in the middle, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But then again, I'm going to take that line all the way down to the edge of my paper so it looks like it drops off. All right, next, let's start with some of Spider-Man's body. So right about here and right about here, I'm gonna make an oval shape that's gonna come down to about here and come up and end right here. So again, I want this to kind of come out, down, and around, and then come back up into where my head is. I'm gonna make sure these sides are nice and curvy. Next, we're gonna make kind of like a diamond shape, but we're not gonna see all of the diamond. We're gonna start over here, so it's come out, and we can do the same thing on the other side. And now we're gonna make a line that's gonna curve down to about this point. Actually, I want that a little bit higher up. We'll curve them down to about this point. Again, you'll notice my line is curving a little bit. It's not going perfectly straight. It is curving. All right, next, let's go back up to our head for Spider-Man's head. First thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna make a little line that's gonna go from one side to the other. You'll notice my line is curving just a little bit. It's a little bit of a smile line. Now, this line I'm gonna use to make Spider-Man's eyes. This line is gonna be the bottom of his eyes. Spider-Man has very big eyes, at least on his mask. So we're gonna draw a shape that's gonna kind of curve up like a big lowercase letter r to about this point. Right, now let's bring this line, let's curve it back into that line we made going side to side. And then we'll just darken this part up right here for Spider-Man's eye. Now, Spider-Man has a thick black kind of outline around his eye. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw another line inside of this shape that goes right next to the lines I just made. But the tricky part is not to make them touch. We want them to be very close. Now eventually, one of the last things we're gonna do is we're gonna color in the space between these two lines to get, again, a nice black border around our eyes. Now let's do the same shape, but on the other side. So again, we're going to start with the big letter R, but it's going to be going backwards this time. Let's bring it up to about this point. Let's curve it back down and bring it back over. We can now get rid of this line that's going side to side. But notice we're leaving the line in the middle. Now again, let's give a little border around or inside of this eye. And eventually we'll color that one in black too. I'm just not going to do that part right now. Next, let's come back down to his body. The first thing we should do is let's put the spider on his costume. So a little bit underneath the circle for his head, I'm going to make a little oval shape. Notice I'm kind of using that line that's going down the middle of my paper to help me draw that oval. So half my oval's on one side of that line, the other half is on the other side. Now let's draw an even bigger oval. But this one, we're going to make the end of it at the bottom a little bit pointy. And eventually we will color our spider in black as well. So if you want, we can shade this in. All right, now for our spider, we need 8 legs. We're going to do 4 going up, 4 going down. So going up, coming right out of the bottom part of the top oval, we're going to do a little line coming up, and let's do a bigger one around it. Now we're going to do the same thing but going down, but let's start with the big line, and we're coming out of the big oval this time. And now let's do a little one right next to it. Now we're going to do these same lines on the other side. And a little one and a big one around it. Now let's start with our big one and a little one inside, just like that. Next, let's finish up his arms. So now these lines that we drew for our oval earlier, these are going to be the outside of his arms. What we're going to do now is we're going to draw 2 little C shapes. One of them is going backwards. One of them will be a normal letter C. Now we're going to take the ends of our C's and bring them back up into the bottom of our head. These are going to be for Spider-Man's arms. Actually, I think I want to make them a little bit thicker. They're looking a little skinny right now. All right, that's a little better. Next, we're going to draw 2 curved lines on his arms to separate the part of his sleeve from his glove. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little curved line that's going to go kind of in the opposite direction of the C shape for his hand. So this one's a normal C, so this one will be kind of a backwards letter C. But it's going down, so it's kind of like a C that fell over. We'll do the same thing on the side. Now the top half of this, where my pencil is right now, we're eventually going to color blue. This part will be for his glove. So let's do some of those, well, never mind. We'll come back to that. For his legs, first thing we're going to do, kind of coming out of the side of his hand here, we're going to draw a little line. And now from the end of this line, I'm going to draw another one that's going to come back over like this. So I have a little, almost like a really sharp triangle in between his arm and his leg. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This one is not going to be as big though. Now, as you may have guessed it, this diamond shape coming out of the side of him, this is going to be for his legs. I'm actually going to make this come up just a little bit more. Same on this side. There we go. All right, now kind of similar to what we did with the doing a little curve line on his gloves, separate his sleeve from his glove. We're going to do the same thing for on his legs to separate his legs from his boots. So again, I'm going to draw a little curved line, but this time it's going to go in the opposite direction. I'm going to do one on the other side too. Now, for this shape where his shoes are, I'm just going to darken this line. And now I want to draw a line that's going to separate one shoe from the other. So I'm kind of like I'm drawing a big lowercase letter R line right now that's separating, that's connecting the bottom of this line, this shoe, back into the other side of this foot. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right. Next, let's start to put some of the details on his costume. So again, this part of his sleeve and this part of his leg for his pants are going to be blue. There's also going to be a little bit of blue underneath the spider. So let's draw a little curved line right underneath him. His gloves, his boots, and his mask, though, will be red and will have that spiderweb design. So to do that spiderweb design, first thing we're going to do is very lightly, we're going to make some lines on his boots. We're going to start with his boots. So starting from this line going straight up and down, I'm going to make some lines that go to the side. And so these are going up the side of his boot right now. And then I'm going to make some that are just going to go the opposite way. So now they're going perpendicular. Let's do the same thing on the other foot. So again, I'm drawing some relatively straight lines. And now we're going to make some that are going the opposite direction, almost like we're making a checkerboard. Now we're going to do the same thing for his gloves. So again, let's start with some straight lines that are going to kind of following up the shape of his arm. So my lines are curving to the shape of his arm. Let's do another one. This one will go right on the edge. And now again, we'll do some that will go side to side. Now let's do same thing on this glove. So again, we'll start with some lines that are kind of following the curve of my arm. If they don't follow it perfectly, that's okay. Just try your best. And now again, let's get some lines that are going to curve from side to side. All right, now we're almost there. Let's finish up his mask. Now we have this line going, oh wait, we forgot his body. Sorry about that. So we can actually leave this one line kind of right here in the middle, and then let's put some right next to it, going next to our spider, or kind of behind our spider. And then we'll make some going across. So almost like we're making a little jail cell right now that our spider is in. Remember, there should be a little triangle here at the bottom that won't have this spiderweb design on it. All right, for his mask, what we're gonna do is let's make a little line that's gonna curve to connect one eye to the other. So it's like a little smile line, again, that's gonna connect one eye to the other. Now, from here, next to this line that's going right down the middle, I'm going to make one that's going to curve up and to the right. Now, I'm going to make that one from the bottom curve, again, to the right. Now I'm going to imagine one is going through his eye, so let's make one kind of, again, coming out of the top of it and curving to the right. And we'll come out the bottom and curve it to the right. Let's do one more. So again, almost like I'm coming out of the bottom now, and I'm imagining it going through his eye. And let's draw one, just like that. Now we're going to do these same lines on the other side. So again, not right on that middle line, but right next to it, we'll draw a line that will curve up and to the left. We'll bring it down and to the left. Now again, we're going to 1, 2, 3 lines that are going to kind of go through. We're imagining going through his eye and coming out on the other side. Oops. All right, now this next part is going to be a little bit different from how we did his body. We are going to make those lines going across, however, we're going to curve them a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make kind of like a letter C shape to connect these lines. They'll go side to side. So again, it's like a letter C that kind of fell, I'm imagining fell over. And I'm just going to take the end of it now and make another one to connect it to the next line. And another one to connect it to the next line. And I'm going to keep going all the way over so that this line goes from one side of my head to the other. Let's do another one of those. This one we'll kind of imagine going through his eye. Same with this one. Let's do one more for the top half of his head. All right, now for the bottom. Now we're going to take this C shape and flip it the other way. So now you'll notice my curve is going in the opposite direction. But I'm just going to kind of keep doing that same thing, bringing my lines from one side to the other. All right, let's do one more here at the bottom. All right, and like that, we have our basic Spider-Man. Now we're ready to trace, color, and do a little erasing. If you would like to pause the video here at home, you can to match the same colors, but you do not have to.
I hope you guys all had fun drawing Spider-Man with me today. I hope you guys stay safe, you keep drawing, and I'll see you next time.